do I stay and learn and deal with the pain of this, or do I quit? And I stayed, and I tell you, it was the best decision I could have made in my business.
Okay, welcome everybody to this wonderful edition of the Wise Agent Society. Thanks for joining us today. We have an amazing, this is actually the Wise Agent Society Sharpen the Saw episode. What are we on, Tara? Maybe 8, maybe 9. Episode 9 of Sharpen the Saw with the Wise Agent Society. Today we have an amazing guest with us, one of my most favorite business partners and esteemed real estate agents that I know in Denver, Colorado. He is a former police officer. He's a former veteran in the Army, and he is a heck of a guy, wonderful coach, amazing author, and top-notch business professional selling real estate all over the Denver area. His name is Barry Overton. Thank you so much for joining us today. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great, Shay, and thank you for having me here today. It's an honor and a privilege to be here, and I love, again, sharpening the saw. I love that term. You know, it's biblical that iron sharpens iron, and I think that it's a way of life that we should embrace more. I think we have gotten to whether it's in business, whether it's just in life in general, where we're always looking to compete with one another instead of lifting one another. So I love the whole idea of the podcast.
Yeah, thanks. Well, I mean, we're having a lot of fun doing it, for one thing, which is great. But we're also going over a lot of great information to share with real estate agents and business people in general, but mostly it's real estate related, on how to, real estate and business isn't always all glitz and glam. Of course, what you're going to see agents post on social media and stuff is going to be all the fun, fancy, cream of the crop stuff, right? But the thing that people might not see is this sharpening the saw part in the background, where you have to make sure your tools are sharp and good and ready to go to do the day-to-day tasks that aren't so fancy or glitzy. They're just doing work. We're going to sit down, we have to focus, and we need to be consistent. That's what we do, right?
Yeah, you're right.
So that's what this is all about. But we do get to have a lot of fun with great guests from all over the country and get different perspectives. On our other show, we talk about the real estate, national real estate news and the markets in different places. But this one is just really fun to pick different segments to kind of focus on, and especially getting perspective from somebody like you that would have, a lot of knowledge and experience in the field and in your market. And so it sounds like today, you tell us what we're going to talk about today. You want to say the topic you want to go over?
Yeah, I know that over the last year and a half, we've seen, pretty significant changes in the market with the interest rates going up, and it's had an effect on sellers. It's had an effect on buyers, but it's had an effect on real estate agents from that perspective. And with the organization that I'm growing and the team that I have, I've seen that effect on agents, so much to the point where you have agents that are questioning if they should stay in real estate and, kind of doubting their abilities in this particular market. So, I want to talk about really kind of getting back to the basics of doing real estate, also having the proper mindset going into this changing market that we're experiencing, and then, the strategies that you can use to set yourself apart from all other agents, because the beauty of it is those that stick and stay during this time are going to experience, number one, that there's going to be the growing pains, but then when they come out on the other side of this, they're going to be so far ahead of the game that those agents that gave up, or the agents that have not even got into real estate yet, are going to be looking up to them and asking them, advice. And so that's what I'm really excited about. And I can speak on that because I was that agent probably, I've been in real estate 21 years, probably 15 years ago. It was one of those things. I had a full-time job and I made a decision and said, during a time of crisis in the real estate industry, do I stay and learn and deal with the pain of this, or do I quit? And I stayed, and I tell you, it was the best decision I could have made in my business.
Yeah, I'm really glad you did because I might not have met you otherwise.
Yeah.
And I've learned so much from you, and I respect you so much that's a good thing that you decided to stick around. And another to that point is I think that adversity creates opportunity.
Yeah.
So as things get tough and things get tight, like I said, some people will choose to go a different path, which is totally fine. It's good if that's the right decision for somebody to do to take care of their family and take care of their well-being. Then great. But if it is something that they're passionate about, then there might be different ways to move forward and stick with it and dig in your heels and do the work, and come up with a plan to move through it. And as we've been talking in a lot of these podcasts, it's just basic stuff. It's really not fancy. It's not difficult. Well, as we say a lot, it's simple, not easy, right? Because it's just simple stuff that you have to be consistent about and then go out there and do it. So that's it. So that's what I love about what you just said. There are opportunities coming up, and I think you're going to talk about some ways to be able to take advantage of those opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, again, it all starts with the mindset that you take into whatever the situation may be. And I think a lot of times when I talk mindset, people, just depending on where you're at in life, if you're not into personal development as far as reading or listening, or you don't have a mentor, then in many cases, it may be just newfound territory for you. And I can tell you, I was 40 years old before I ever picked up my first personal development book. But the one that I picked up was the game changer in my life. And it was a book called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill.
Okay.
Yeah. It's called, the Bible of Business. It's the most sold book only behind the Bible. And most millionaires will attribute their success to reading that book more than 7 times. And I've actually read the book myself 6 times. And what I've learned from it was applying. There's 13 principles that Napoleon Hill goes through in that book. And I think the first couple of times that I read the book, I realized, okay, this is a great book. And I took notes. I understood the principles. But it was that 6th time that I read it that I said, okay, I'm going to do something different this time. As I read a chapter, I'm going to start applying what I just learned. And that's when things really started to change in my business, and my belief in, being able to be successful in whatever business I was doing really became, bigger. And now it's something that I can apply to, right now I'm on this kick of losing weight. And this started the 4th of July for me. And since then, I've lost 17 pounds since the 4th of July. And it's not by dieting. Yeah, thank you. It's not by dieting. It's not by doing something temporarily. It was a lifestyle change. And it was, and that's something I have battled with for years. But I said, okay, I don't battle with myself in how to build my business, but here it is. I'm battling with something of how to get better health. And I had to remind myself of something I say all the time. It's how you do anything is how you do everything. And so I had to apply the things that I do in business to getting better health. And so those are the things that I've been doing. So, going back to mindset, I think it first starts with who are you reading? Who are you listening to? Where are you sharpening the saw for yourself? Where are you getting information from someone that has achieve the goals that you're looking for, and following suit in regards to some of their advice. So that was really kind of the first step for me, is just finding mentors. And some of my Napoleon Hill is a mentor, and he's, when I had found him, he had been dead for 38 years at that point.
Yeah, I just read that book actually too during 75 Hard.
Okay.
I did, remember, and that ended in June. Mm-hmm. So I remember meeting with you. Was I just done with it, or I can't remember. I know when I was doing it, in the middle of it, we met with a whole group of your folks there in Denver, and that was super fun. But anyway, yeah, that book is thorough, and it has a lot of good points in there, talking about mindset. And what's cool is that he interviewed some of the top business people of all time, like Henry Ford, I think, was one of them, right?
Oh yeah,
he spent a lot of time with him. And who was it?
Dale Carnegie.
Dale Carnegie, yep. Yeah. Was it Einstein or somebody else? It was a.
Well, I know there was like over 500 people that he interviewed for that book. It took him 12 years to write the book, and even people that were no longer alive, he talks about in regards to Abraham Lincoln, and how Abraham Lincoln was actually in a mastermind with Napoleon Hill. Think about that. He was dead, but he created a mastermind, and that was one of the principles that he teaches. And so, it's a phenomenal book. And you think about it, it was published in 1937. And the principles in that book, here it is, we're 2023. They still apply, and they're so forward thinking that, you can be taken back if you're not prepared for some of those principles that he shares.
Yep, totally agree. That was I forgot about that part where he has the mastermind of, I forget what he calls it, history or whatever it was. Yeah, intense and cool, and definitely forward thinking. But that's the cool thing about all the great business leaders out there that he interviewed and was a part of. They all did things differently, and things that people wouldn't, be like, come on, man. And well, that's how you get to that next level, is by thinking outside the box, thinking differently, and not worrying about what all the people are doing that are getting the results they're getting now. Mm-hmm. But what can you do to level up that other people aren't doing?
Yeah. And I often tell people that, if you're not happy with the results that you're getting in life right now, your current thinking has gotten you to the point that you are at in life. So if you're not happy with where you're at, it calls for you to change your thinking. The book itself, it's not called Work Hard and Grow Rich, or Dream and Grow Rich. It's Think and Grow Rich. And so you truly have to do, one of my mentors told me years ago to practice thinking. And when I first heard that, it was like, wow, I think all the time. But when you are deliberately and working with intention of what your thoughts are, and taking those thoughts, turning them into beliefs, and then coming up with a behavior that puts you in a place of making those beliefs, eventually come to fruition. Because again, in the book, the first line in Think and Grow Rich says thoughts are things. And it truly is the case. There's science behind what you think about, and what you condition your mind to believe will become truth. And if you think, one of the things that he talks about is the conscious mind versus the subconscious mind. The conscious mind is what we're in right now. This is where, when I'm speaking to you, you're receiving the information that I'm giving you. We're having a conversation. We're in our conscious mind, a state of awakening, so to speak. And our subconscious mind is the part of our mind that never sleeps. It's the part that we dream from. When we're asleep, the subconscious mind is still working. I have literally had ideas for my real estate business that have come to me in my subconscious mind. And because of the fact that if I didn't write it down, like I'd wake up and I said, okay, I had a notepad next to the bed. And I said, I got to write that down because I will not remember this in the morning, because it was one of those fleeting thoughts that was going through my subconscious mind. Some of those things that I wrote down are still part of my business to this day. And
I love that.
Yeah. And the thing about it is the subconscious mind only knows what the conscious mind tells it. So when we say negative things about ourselves, when we say negative things about our business, the subconscious mind is constantly replaying those things. So that's why affirmations have become a very important part of creating success for yourself, and writing the affirmations down, reading them first thing in the morning, last thing that you do at night. That was one of the principles in Think and Grow Rich is, the writing your affirmations and doing it twice a day. Because of the book being written in 1937, this idea that I now use was not really in play. But because of the fact that the subconscious mind never sleeps, if you've ever fell asleep with the TV on and you start to dream, you realize that you're dreaming about stuff that you're hearing go on the TV. You talk about Rosetta Stone. You can learn to speak Spanish in your sleep because, again, the subconscious mind is still receiving what's on the outside. So how about, with that being the case, speaking in your own voice, the one voice that your subconscious mind is most familiar with, because it hears it every time you talk. So speaking your affirmations in your own voice and play a recording of that throughout the course of the night. This is further cementing those beliefs, those affirmations, those things that haven't happened, but you're speaking them in a way that they've already happened in your life. I say, I'm so happy and grateful that I make, $1.7 million a year. I don't make that yet, but my subconscious mind doesn't know that. And what has happened since I've done that is different ideas, different ways of reaching that goal have revealed themselves to me over the course of the last couple of years.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things that I've ever heard you say or learned about you is that you record your own affirmations in your own voice and listen to it. I was like, that is genius. I mean, I've listened to affirmations for so long and said affirmations and all that stuff, but never record it in my own voice. And that is such a smart thing to do and so cool. Yeah. Another thing, part of that is I've been reading this book, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. That has a lot to do with the law of attraction and we call it quantum physics and that kind of stuff. So when you're talking about that and the power of the mind, and Tara will put these books into the chat as we mention books, we'll put them in there. But when we're talking about the power of mind and mind control or thinking things into reality, it's quantum physics. It's actually what the smartest of scientific people and mathematicians that you could possibly go to school for your whole life for. That's what they work on. It's just physics. It's quantum physics. It's like real, actual, high-level math and science that is super proven and totally doable. I mean, it's just, this one's amazing. That one has, the first 10 pages will blow your mind. The other thing I was going to say, another book that I've mentioned quite a bit is called The Gap in the Gain by Dan Sullivan. And it also talks about mindset and how are you in a gap mindset or are you in a gain mindset? And, how you look at things, maybe even historically, things that have happened to you or in general, and then how you tell the story about that happened is your choice. So you can literally rewrite history in a way, depending on the way that you're thinking about it and talking about it. So it's fascinating. I love it. I practice it. It has to do with like vision boards and stuff too, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you put that, I've pulled out vision boards over the years, and 411s are yeah, that's a KW thing. Like it's a goal sheet,
Mm-hmm.
um, and gotten every single thing on all my vision boards, all my 411s, all the stuff. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it might not happen the first year, that 1 year, whatever, but I get that, I get all the things on there without thinking much about it, consistently working toward it and having it there. But it's fascinating that you get the stuff that you focus on.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and that goes back to that law of attraction, and just being able to put yourself in a different way of thinking, because again, you can get the things that you focus on when you're focusing on negative things as well. And I think we live in this society now where, social media can be very negative. The regular media is even more negative. My wife and I joke about, we'll look at the world news, just kind of get an update on what's going on. And it's literally bad story after bad story. I say all news is CNN, constantly negative news. And and then they will, the last story is always a feel good story. And it's like, we're going to knock you down for the next 29 minutes and build you back up with this 1 minute story. But again, when that's what you're looking at all the time, it's easy to get into a negative mindset. So I remember when I first started with Napoleon Hill, it was about guarding my mind. It was, they say the most important piece of real estate that you own are the 6 inches between your ears, and what you allow to reside in there can be damaging to your own well-being, to your business, to your personal life, whatever the case may be. So I had a period of probably 5 years where I never looked at the news, and honestly, it was one of those things where, I would pick up on, something happened. I kind of pick up on the story, and then I would just move on. But so and that's one of the things where now I do look at the news a little bit more, only because my wife likes to look at it. But it's one of those things where I'm constantly guarding my mind around that, saying, okay, I can't allow that to take up residence in my thinking.
Yeah, you can't get too far into it, because here's the thing: news channels and news period, they don't care about anything except selling news.
Yeah.
So fun, happy, feel good news. It's not controversial. It's not, it's not juicy. So they don't post that. They don't talk about that stuff. They talk about stuff that people are get wound up about, and so it's usually negative stuff or polarizing stuff, and things that are just typically terrible. They're not good things, because they wouldn't get the ratings. They wouldn't get people sucked into it. So people don't realize that. They think the news is this, that, or the other thing, or trying to control, blah, blah, blah. All they're trying to control is the money flowing out of your pockets. That's it.
Yeah.
That's what they're there for. I mean, it's not science. They just want money. And that's capitalism in general. So, I mean, it's, it's not all this stuff. But so remember that it's geared toward, sucking you in. It's like a guilty pleasure, like anything else. So you got to be careful with what you're doing. And I love how you say guarding your mind. So once you see, okay, like, and I'll do that on Facebook too. Sometimes I'll start going down a path of whatever and watching people just get icky. I mean, they just want to argue for argument's sake. And it's just like one unintelligent thing after another unintelligent thing. And it's like, okay, I can't even read this anymore. I just stop reading it and I move on. I don't look at that stuff anymore, because it's just toxic. It just winds you up for no reason. And another thing I was going to say is I love your message. You have affirmations on your background.
Yeah.
And I love it. And I've been wanting to do that. So Tara, let's work on getting a mural on my background too, with some motivational words. That's smart. I mean, I have some nice San Diego, stuff in the back of mine too, but I like the idea of having some affirmations and more around, so that it's constantly, just like you said, in your subconscious mind, working toward. And
Yeah.
others too. You're projecting that to other people. That's really great of you to give these words to other people as you're talking to them.
Yeah, and that's, we talk about vision boards. I believe in a vision environment. So, I mean, it's all around me. The on the sides of the walls there are all motivational quotes from like Steve Jobs, Mark Twain, Martin Luther King. So people that I'm inspired by. So when I come into my office, I'm surrounded by that.
I love it. So let's go back to a few things that we talked about earlier. You were talking about NAR. So some people, we're talking about how this market is challenging, right?
Mhm.
And that people are getting out of the market. You were talking about some stats with that. You want to remind me like NAR stats of, how many people didn't renew, and let's talk about that for a little bit.
Yeah, so 60,000 agents did not renew their board membership for 2023, and it is projected that there'll be around 200,000 that will not do it this coming year. And so again, that's pretty significant when you've seen that we've been in an industry where those numbers have been just constantly going up, and again, a big part of that is for the reasons that what's going on in the with the interest rate, with the market itself. So the outside world is affecting people's internal beliefs in themselves to even be able to be successful in this market right now. And so again, I see what's going on in the outside world. I have to internalize how does that affect me? Do I fall into that same trap? And obviously, being in a place where I've grown my business to now, I certainly don't fall into that trap. But when I go back to getting my license in 2001 and then having even 2006, 2007 were not easy years, but 2008 hits. It was very easy to say, well, I got a full-time job. I'm just going to fall back on that. And I was at a brokerage where we had 9 police officers that were active police officers. And by the time we got out of the recession and the market crash by 2010, there was only 2 of us left that were still police officers and still real estate agents. And for me, it was like, guess what? I'm going to learn how to do short sales. I'm going to learn how to sell HUD homes. I'm going to learn how to do these foreclosure properties. And it was the best thing that I could have ever done because I learned different aspects of real estate that I never thought that I would be doing. And it also taught me that I have the ability to pivot. I have the ability to adjust. So going into this current market that we're in, I'm already prepared.
Yeah. That's an excellent point. So when I first started, whatever it was, 11 years ago, in real estate, one of my mentors at the time said, successful agents are always successful agents, no matter what the market is. And what that means is, like, do you think the best producing teams in your office, in your area, your association, that when the market changes, they just dry up and they go away? No. Successful agents are going to be there all the time because you can be successful in any market out there, no matter what it is. Yeah. And the proof is in the pudding that the successful agents stay successful agents all the time. They just shift their focus. So when, I learned that right away. So I just, had no fear of failing because I just knew that I could figure it out no matter what, because people are out there doing it. Yeah. They do it every day. They do it over a span. There are teams and people that have been doing this for 40 years or whatever. Long periods of time, going down through cycles, and they're still great. So just what you said, it's more of a mindset thing. Can you do to adapt to the market and take advantage of the market that you have now? How can you continue to help people? The needs of the people still need to buy and sell houses no matter what, all the time, any market. So how can you yourself in front of those people to be able to give yourself the opportunity to help them with whatever they need, right?
Yeah, you're right. And I think that's really in the place where we're at right now is being able to make that pivot, being able to look at the other opportunities. And one of the things that I tell the agents that work with me is right now, mortgage brokers are having to make that pivot as well. And so I take meetings with mortgage brokers all the time, because what I'm realizing is their industry understands, okay, we have to be able to combat the higher interest rates and have different programs and different products that we can offer. And so I want to be, as a real estate agent, I want to be apprised as to what's new on that front so that I can share it with my market. So then I become an agent of value to the people that are connected to me, because they know that, man, Barry, I'm not in the market to buy a house right now, but Barry has all these different programs that he's connected to. And a lot of times they think that I have the program. No, I'm just kind of sharing what a mortgage broker has the ability to do. But I do it in a way where, again, I seem like the subject matter expert on it because I sat down with the mortgage broker to learn that. And what I found, all the years that I've been in real estate, especially when things were good, mortgage brokers have a hard time getting real estate agents to sit down with them. It's, they're making a lot of phone calls, and they may be 1 out of 10, 2 out of 10 that they can actually get a coffee meeting with. And so they're always surprised when if I've never met with someone from their company, or, don't know much about what their products are, it's a yes. They don't have to twist my arm, to meet for coffee or lunch or whatever the case may be, because I know out of that meeting, there's going to be something that I can use to help build my business. So
that's so smart.
Yeah, one of the strategies, that a very simple strategy, meet with mortgage brokers, call some of them up and find out, hey, just looking at how are you working through this market that we're in? What are some of the products that you guys have to offer?
That is so stinking smart. I could squeeze you. Because and I've historically always done that too. So yeah, it's great to network and get out there, because these lenders know lots of people. They're trying to talk to a lot of agents, and they're also talking to clients. So perfect example of a smart thing an agent can do right now to give value to their clients and potential clients is to be sitting with lenders and going over what they have. There is not a lender out there that will say, no, I don't want to go to lunch or coffee with you.
Yeah.
Just like you said, they're going to be floored that you called them first.
Yeah.
And that's a super smart thing. So another thing that sparked me to think about is, and I know you do this too, is the new home builder expert. You should be previewing new home build projects every week, stinking week, and videoing it, putting it on social media. Here's the builder. Here's the floor plans. Here's how many houses are going to be here. Here are the price points. Give me a call. I'd love to take you and show you around. And then also get to know those groups and be professional, build a professional, friendly relationship with them. And all that goes a long way, because none of that stuff, well, depending, some of that stuff is not on the market. So then you have this whole other segment of developments that nobody else has. Some of them do put them on the MLS these days, but either way, it's a great source to becoming, and you can go film it. They want you to film it. They want you to film it, put it on social media. They want you to spread the word, man. That's what it's all about. So that's another tip for.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, when I started full time in my business, in 2017, I was kind of starting from ground zero. I was building my sphere. And that was exactly what I did. Every week, I would go out and visit new home builders and shoot the video footage, because, again, I had a website at the time. It was called Colorado Dream Home Finders. And I wanted to shoot video content of what better dream homes than model homes to go out and shoot and share with people. And then on top of it, what I would share is, this particular builder has these incentives, that
Yes.
again, $10,000 towards closing costs, giving you 15,000 at the design center that you can use for upgrades, all the different things that were available. And I would never mention the builder. I would never mention the neighborhood because I wanted to go through me to get more information.
Smart.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's genius. I mean, I did that so much. Another thing I did, depending on your big cities and stuff, is that I became a gated golf community expert. I was on a team that did that. So one of my first jobs was to go and tour all of the guard gated golf communities in Las Vegas and know them, study them, know all the amenities, all the price packets for membership, what the courses are like. Are they private? Are they public? Are they both? Are they TPA? Whatever it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was funny because I walked in not knowing anyone. My mentor, Rob Jensen, just told me to do this. I did whatever he said. I didn't think two things about it. And I had his business card. I didn't even have my own business cards. I'd go up to places and say, "Hey, I'm Shay Hasselman. I work with Rob Jensen. Here's his card, and I'm here because I'm gonna be selling a lot of high-end luxury houses, and so I want to know about this country club and the golf course and all the things that are involved here, And a lot of them looked at me like, "Who the hell are you? Like, what?" I'm like, "Yeah, can we go look around? Can you show me? Do you have time? Or should I come back another time?" I just did. And then people were like, well, nice to meet you, Shay. Well, that's great. Like just whatever. But I'm telling you, and then I'd walk out of there with a packet full of information. And then I'd have that. I'd file it. And then later I ended up putting that into SEO work to build up my website. And I was an expert in those areas. And then later I expanded it out of just luxury guard gated stuff, which is what Rob specializes in. And I just kind of did more stuff. But that's it. Learning inventory, learning areas, and becoming an expert in whatever specific neighborhood or areas is mind-blowingly easy and should be a part of your weekly, scheduled time blocking that you're doing. And we have it down to a 23-hour work week, Sarah. And it's, I think, 3 or 4 days a week, 3 hours of that time you should be previewing houses. If you don't have a client. If you're doing a client, don't show them. That's previewing too.
Yeah.
Same thing. So no matter what, you're doing it, I think we'd say 4 days a week is probably what it is, but that's great stuff. I love it. So going back to, okay, people might be getting out. These are great tips and tricks to help people that might be thinking, how can I revamp business? What am I not doing today that I could be doing to like real estate? I want to stay in real estate. What can I do to change the way I'm doing things? So those are a couple of great things. And you had mentioned earlier about kind of alluding to aligning with the right people, with the right mindset. So maybe I know that you have an excellent organization where you help lots of people, and some of them are on your team and some of them aren't on your team. Some people just align with you because they want to be around this. And you guys all help each other in a bigger way. You want to explain a little bit about how that is and what it's called?
Yeah. So we have the Super Agents Collaborative, which is a combination of multiple teams within I'm with EXP, and this is an organization that we created within EXP. And it's very sharp, business-minded real estate agents that have come together along with newer agents or agents that are growing their business. And so you have agents really kind of from all walks of life, all different standpoints of where they're at in their business currently. And but we work together side by side, creating a community of collaboration and being able to help one another grow. It's a really part of what we say is it's agents helping agents, leaders building leaders, and creating growth for everyone. With the concept of the rising tide lifts all boats. And
Mhm.
that's what we're looking to do. We want to get away from the idea of competition. I think, when
Mhm.
you're in brokerage, in many cases with awards and with highest producer of the month, it feeds into competition. And I think it can be healthy. I think it's good to have something that you strive for to be the top producing agent in your company for the month or for the year, whatever the case may be. But I think we can also get to a place where we're so focused on that it becomes a me, and we're
Mhm.
not open to sharing ideas with other people. I tell my organization I've done a very good job of networking and meeting a lot of people, and my database is their database. I just had
Mhm.
someone reach out to me on Friday that was looking for a general contractor. Within a matter of a few minutes, I was able to get her connected with my GC. Um,
Mhm.
I make it a point that I'm constantly meeting people, adding to my database. But like I said, my database is open to anyone who asks, whether they're part of the Super Agent Collaborative or just another agent at an entirely different company.
I love it. I'm taking notes, like I said I would, about business networking. I know that you, aside from real estate networking, you do just general business networking with business professionals all over Denver. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah. And I've actually had agents ask me, why do you do that? I mean, is that growing your business? And yeah, indirectly it is, because again, it's not about, okay, I need to do this happy hour and bring a bunch of potential clients into a room and schmooze and get to know all these people. No, I want to be able to provide value to people, and not just to my clients, not just to the agents that are working with me. But one of the things that I learned is when you are connected and people, the area that I provide value is just about every meeting that I go into. I will leave that meeting and I'll tell that person, hey, I got this person over here that I know you should meet. I think what you're
Mhm.
doing in business really aligns with what they're doing. You guys should know one another. And I've seen on Facebook, on social media over the years, people that I made the introduction, and they become the best of friends. They're hanging out,
Yeah,
going to golf and going to dinner and things of that nature. So that's just
I
a
love
part
it.
of who I am as a person.
Yeah, I love it, and I think it's so smart too. It's funny, and we've been friends for quite a while, colleagues and all of that, and it's still just funny how many similarities we have and that we think alike in a lot of ways. And um, so a friend of mine and I used to, an agent in Las Vegas, we used to put on these giant business networking events too. They were called Rockstar Networking events. And same thing. People were like, well, why do you do that? And sometimes realtors would show up to those and all that. And we were happy to have them. We were happy to talk with them and, all that stuff. But it was being a member of the community in a larger capacity. So we had a
Mhm.
lot of fun. We had
Yeah.
a lot of fun hanging out at these places. And so I think that is a great instrumental idea. It's not a rich quick or even a get rich or even, it's not really about that. It's more about, like you said, giving value, making relationships and making connections. So I think people miss that part, is that if you're doing that in a genuine way, which
Hmm.
most people aren't, they're just like, well, how do I get something out of this? But you're not getting a lot of out of that, aside from connections and relationships, which me personally, I love doing that too. The more
Hmm.
people I can know and the more people I can impact or help in any way, I'm for it. Like, I love it. It makes me feel good. So that's cool, man. That's cool that you do those. Let's see here. We're about out of time here. Let's look at my notes here. How about we just wrap this thing up with, you have a back to basics boot camp coming up. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah, it's the event that we're doing here in October 25th. Some of the people, the guy right there in the center, his name is Mark Jackson. He actually played for the Denver Broncos. He had like a 9-year NFL career. He's going to be our keynote speaker. Great business guy, a good friend of mine. And I'm really excited because when we talk about mindset, he is a guru in regards to that. The guy between me and him right here, Gavin Ekstrom, this guy's in the top 1% of mortgage brokers in the entire country. Really the name in mortgage in the Denver area. He's going to be our MC for the event. He actually just put on an event himself called Impact 23. Ed Milet was the headliner for that event. He had Damon West, who I think wrote "Be the Coffee Bean," I believe is the name of the book. But he has an amazing story of coming out of prison and turning his life completely around. And I think it's just been in a matter of like the last 10 years. And then we got myself, Monica Graves, Dan Goldberg, all part of the Super Agent Collaborative. So we'll have that event October 25th. Again, it's really just kind of talking about some of the things we discussed here in regards to just, there's so much technology and AI, and we think we want to figure out how to create business with all these different tools. When it's good old fashioned, basics of getting into your database, getting on your cell phone, sending out the emails, the things that have been tried and true for years in real estate, they still work. I always say, if you want to go to some of this lead gen stuff, great, go ahead and do that, but don't get away from the basics of building your business as well. And what you may find is that, okay, I'm spending money on all these leads and kind of running into a brick wall with it. But meantime, I kept with what was working over here, and it's still working.
Yep. I will say I've spent gobs and gobs and gobs of money on lead sources and just lots of stuff, right? The things that people all think that are going to be good in real estate. And I promise you, the most money I've ever made in real estate always comes from me having conversations with other people.
Yeah.
Not paid for, no paid for leads.
Mm.
However that is. And you know what? It's funny when I'm thinking back is I've had crazy amounts of business come from Facebook Messenger. I mean, for me, that could easily be Instagram. That could easily be any of those other things. But reaching out to people via that, or even via text to spark a conversation, like I see them on social media, so I shoot them a text, stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, I see that you are thinking about moving, or whatever. And then open houses, of course, but just keeping in contact. So being consistent with following up with people. But that doesn't mean you have to pick up the phone and call them, although that's a great strategy. But there are other ways to do it. And I've done more through text and Messenger than I ever have probably through phones. And I've done a lot of phone calls, talking to leads and whatever, cold calls. I've done it all.
Yeah.
So, just having conversations and building relationships is what it's all about. And having fun with it. If it's not fun, you're not going to do it.
Yeah, you're right.
Cool. Any last thoughts from you on any of this?
Like I said, I think the real goal for me going through the rest of this year for other agents, whether you're part of our organization or not, is really just getting people to stay in the game right now. I think it's impossible to win if you're not in the game. And while you're in the game, you may take some hits, you may take some bumps and bruises. It may be painful, but just stick with it. I think this process that we're in right now is a season that we'll get through. And I guarantee you, if you stick with it, you're going to be a better agent on the other side of this. So really just, and again, whether it's finding mentorship, whether it's, getting connected with other agents that are having the same challenges and being able to discuss those things, find the things that you need to do to stay in the game.
Agreed. And for all of you out there, just know that Barry and I are here to help you formulate a plan that would be fun for you and to be involved with people like us and the people that we associate with that are all about helping other people sell more real estate, all about having a better quality of life, all about having more fun while you work. It's what we do. And we're happy to show you or include you in our businesses and help you to get to that level. That's what we do for a living, aside from selling houses, right, Barry?
Yeah.
Yeah, so anytime, please reach out to me or to Barry. If you're in the Denver area and you want me to make an introduction to Barry, I'm happy to do that. And we work together. We're business partners, so we're aligned together and work together and want to see each other succeed. And that's the same with everybody else in our organizations. So thanks so much for coming on, Barry. Really appreciate you. Looking forward to seeing you the next time. Wanted to let everybody know that on this coming Thursday, we have our national real estate news. Tara, do we have a guest for that one?
Yes, Brett Conley.
Brett Conley. So probably talking about Phoenix, Arizona, I would imagine. So that's going to be great. Join us 11 CST for that. And we'll see you all soon. Thanks so much for coming.